This is the Wired Educator Podcast, episode 264 with Frank Polen, Assistant Superintendent and Director of Postsecondary Adult Education at Buckeye Career Center. Today, we're talking about leadership, the incredible impact of career and technical education, and how a servant heart can transform an entire community. If you're looking to find the greatness in change and want to be inspired by a truly remarkable journey in education, then you're going to love this episode.
Welcome to the Wired Educator Podcast, where it's all about becoming a better educator now so you can make a greater impact and enjoy a higher quality lifestyle. And now, your host, Kelly Croy.
This is the Wired Educator Podcast, episode 264. I'm your host, Kelly Croy, and I'm so excited to share my interview with Frank Polen with you today. We have an absolutely amazing conversation lined up for you. Frank has an incredible story about his career and his path through education, and I know it's going to resonate deeply with so many of you. Now, I truly appreciate Frank's patience with me on publishing this episode with the craziness of the end of the school year, a recent illness, and my ongoing writing, speaking engagements, and coaching leaders and educators who want to publish their books, plus all the other things I love to do to inspire and create. It's taken me just a little longer than I wanted to publish this one. I like to remind people I'm a leader, speaker, and author with a podcast, not a podcaster who does the other things. I love this podcast, and I love celebrating and sharing the amazing stories of educators and leaders all around the world who make a difference. But my schedule and my priorities will always be with the people I impact daily first. This podcast is a joy, and I'm so profoundly thankful for you listening and subscribing and sharing it with your network. Before we jump into my awesome interview with Frank, there's a few things I want to tell you about. It was a great week to be a Wired Educator. Jimmy Casas and Jessica Cabeen have a great new book out that is the perfect summer read called The Drip Effect. I was fortunate enough to get an advance copy and write one of the awesome testimonials featured inside the book. Make sure to go order one for yourself and a couple for your colleagues and friends. Also, one of my coaching clients that I've been working with has just finished her final draft of her book, and we're currently finishing up the cover design and a few other things, and it will be heading to publication at the end of the summer. I can't wait to share her and her work with you on both this podcast and throughout my network. It is a book that I truly believe is needed right now for both educators and leaders. If you'd like to be a part of her launch team, and I'm going to unveil her name and everything about her very soon, and you want to learn more about the project or be on her team, send me an email at kelly@kellycroy.com. I also have several opening day keynotes lined up for the 2026 and 2027 school year, and I would love the opportunity to speak with your district or your conference or your organization. There's still time to book, and I absolutely love doing it, and I believe it truly makes a difference. What an awesome way to start the school year out. If you want to bring an inspiring message to your team, send me an email, again, at kelly@kellycroy.com. We just finished a great school year, and I've been doing this for a while now, and honestly, I've stopped counting the years. I'm just like to say I'm experienced, and I'm so proud of so many educators and leaders this year. We really had a fantastic year together. So as we move into the summer, I want to leave you with a quick thought on change. Change is guaranteed, but we don't have to view it as negative. As a matter of fact, I like to remind people that we find exactly what we're looking for. If we look for the odd, the weird, the obstacle, the challenge, or the yucky, we will absolutely find it. Instead, let's take this summer to develop an awesome mindset, a growth mindset. Commit to seeing the greatness in all kids, the greatness in all families, the greatness in your colleagues and in yourself. See the greatness in change itself. Change is, in fact, how we advance and make a greater difference. Leaning on past accomplishments and old successes, that's not for us. Let's make each upcoming school year a brand new album with brand new material and a brand new impact. I'm currently hard at work at finishing up some really cool projects to share with you very soon, like my ABC book that's going to be dedicated to my new granddaughter, Margot. I also have a couple of coaching opportunities coming up that I hope you might consider joining. And so to be alerted to when those coaching opportunities come up, you need to jump over on my website, kellycroy.com, and hit the subscribe button on the newsletter, and you'll be one of the first to find out. Or send me an email, and I will let you know as soon as those opportunities arise. Reflecting on this past year, it's hard to choose a single favorite moment because there's so many, because that's what I look for. I look for the good. I look for the awesome. But one that stands out is helping a first grade teacher make his entire class published authors. That's right. You heard me right. Grant Gallagher at Baton Primary, first grade teacher, worked with me, and every one of his first grade students is a published author. I might interview Grant later and maybe one of his kids. Who knows? We'll see. But they're published authors. And we do many things in a school year, many things. But helping kids create and get excited about creating and publishing and making things that never existed before, well, that's really worth getting excited about. What they can make is always awesome. Looking ahead, I'm excited to help interview new candidates for our district, plan new adventures, and to do all the things that I love to do. And I'm incredibly excited for summer. I know you are too. So let's get into it. Here's my interview with Frank Polen. Frank Polen is currently in his 11th year as the Assistant Superintendent and Director of Postsecondary Adult Education at Buckeye Career Center. Throughout his career, Frank has helped students of all ages discover their passion and prepare for their future through career and technical education. This year also marks Frank's 29th year in public education. As a building principal, Frank consistently led his school to the highest state honors, including 4 consecutive ratings of excellent with distinction by the state of Ohio, 2 ratings of excellent school by the state of Ohio, and the state superintendent's high-performing school of honor. The governor's Thomas Edison Award for STEM education, the Battelle for Kids SOAR Award for High Progress Schools, the state superintendent's School of Promise, and more. Previously, Frank served as a middle school teacher and high school basketball coach at both Riverview Local Schools and Indian Valley Local Schools. He also brings coaching experience from 3 universities, Ohio Dominican, Denison, and Muskingum. Frank is deeply committed to schools, community, and workforce development and leadership initiatives, regularly conducting professional presentations and leadership assemblies with several organizations, boards, and committees, and was recently selected as the 2025-2026 Ohio ACTE President-elect, the 2025 Tuscarawas County Chamber of Commerce Volunteer of the Year, and the 2024 Twin Cities Chamber of Commerce Educator of the Year. Furthermore, Frank was selected as one of only 20 leaders across the United States by the Association for Career Technical Education, that's ACTE, for its initial cohort for next level post-secondary CTE leaders. Frank earned his Bachelor of Arts in Elementary Education and played men's basketball at Ohio Dominican University. And we're going to have a fun talk about that in just a minute. He received his Master of Educational Leadership from Salem International University. Frank resides in New Philadelphia with his wife, Gretchen, a 4th grade teacher at Indian Valley Schools. They are the proud parents of 2 daughters, Kendall, a junior at Denison University, and Reese, a junior and CCP student at Indian Valley High School. Frank is without a doubt my favorite follow on LinkedIn. And if you follow him on LinkedIn, you'll find out why. He's awesome. Let's welcome Frank Polen to the Wired Educator Podcast. Hey, Frank, welcome to the Wired Educator Podcast.
Kelly, I'm really looking forward to it. You've done such a great job. I enjoy all your lessons. Man, you always talk about having a notebook of things. So do I. So I really appreciate this opportunity.
Well, and I know you do because you're an encourager, and there are a lot of leaders out there, but there's unfortunately not a lot of leaders who are encouragers. And I just want to thank you almost in person for liking my stuff, for sharing my creations out. I'm just trying to make a difference just like everybody else. And Frank, you are without a doubt one of the first people to give a like and support and encouragement. And sometimes I just wonder, is anybody out there? And so I greatly appreciate that.
Absolutely. It's great stuff, Kelly. It really is. Joe Sanfilippo, and I know you've had him on a couple of times. Hey, we're all in this together, man.
We
And,
are.
and we've got to support one another and help one another, because I know everything comes back to that servant heart. And that's
It
why we
really
do it.
does. And the correct answer in an interview is, of course, servant leadership.
Sure.
But not everybody actually does servant leadership, and I know you do.
Yeah.
Yesterday, NASA sent Artemis 2. It's going to go around the moon, and I applaud all the engineers and everybody there for the great work and they did and calculations. Frank and I just came really close to that. As we prepared to do this interview, we did some pretty high-tech adjusting, didn't we?
Absolutely. But we've got it now.
We got it down, and we just went through quite a few minutes of technical challenges, but here we are, and it's a great honor to have you on. Frank, you are a leader, and I want to make this very clear. I only know you online, okay? But I see your presence, I see your work, and I see you celebrating other people, and I love that. And you're in a field of education that I don't know a great deal about, so I know you're going to give me a lot as a leader to work with, and I'm going to learn about a branch in education that I really want to learn more about. Before we jump into all that, I love for our listeners to kind of get a backstory, and I read what you shared with me, and this is a good one, everybody. So lean in. You had quite the history to education. You're what, 29, 30 years in?
Yeah, 29 years in public education now.
Yeah. Tell us the story, and please don't skip any of the jobs that you've had.
Well, it starts, and most people would never have heard of this place. I grew up in a small town called Junaden Hutton, Ohio. Okay, one four-way blinky light, and we're probably most famous for the Union Valley South basketball team of the 70s, and Charlie Huggins and all that. And just right outside our town was Cy Young, and so I'm the youngest of four kids, Kelly. And it's kind of neat because I always tell this story because, like Oprah says, right? Everyone has a story.
Absolutely.
And I'm proud of it, and it's not a bragging moment, but I'm proud of the fact that I'm the youngest of four. Growing up, we weren't dirt poor, but we were awful dusty, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Family of
said.
six, and neither of my parents were even high school graduates.
Okay.
And so my mom in particular had a really tough life, in and out of group homes, foster parents, the whole nine yards, before she finally was adopted by people who I became known as my grandparents.
Wow.
Even though they didn't have an education per se, they valued it and made sure that my dad got up, drove truck for a living until he passed away when I was 19. And just the seeing the efforts of hard work I'm proud to say all four of us are college graduates now. My sister's a retired nurse. My brother served over 20 years in the Navy and then went back and got his degree because he didn't want to be the only one without one. And it's a unique path. In my area, everyone pretty much, in my block, everyone either went to the military or work. No boys. And I was like the first male in my family to go to college.
Okay.
And that lasted 6 weeks, Kelly.
6 weeks? You dropped out?
I stopped out. I'll call it that.
I saw that. I didn't quite know what you meant by that. Okay.
Yeah. You realize, I guess I was probably unprepared and all these different things. But 6 weeks, I call home. I had my $200 car, and I call home, and unfortunately, Dad answered the phone, Kelly, and you kind of
yes, I do know that.
Really wanted Mom to answer the phone, right? And I hem-haw around quite a bit, and finally he says, "Well, what do you need?" And I'm kind of like, "Well, I don't think I belong here. I don't think it's for me." And I'm the first one to ever really go, and as a male, and my dad says, "I tell you what, you're man enough to make that decision. You're man enough to get home on your own." Click.
Wow.
And so I did. Put what I could in my little $200 car and drove that about an hour and a half back home. It was a very quiet weekend. Let's put it that way.
Wow.
And the traditional family was you go visit grandma on Sundays. That's what you do. And my dad was the only night he was really home was Friday night, and he slept in his own bed, but he would get up, his work schedule, Kelly, and really taught us a work ethic. was he would get up usually about 10 o'clock, drive to where we had to go, Virginia, New York, South Carolina, wherever it was, get there first thing in the morning, unload, get back, get home about 3:34, get something to eat, shower, sleep, get up and go at 10 again. And he did that.
Wow.
And so that was the work ethic. So Sunday he would leave a little early, but we'd always have to go to grandma's. And then I remember grandma saying this, "Now, Frank, you better get going. You got to get back down to school." Of course, I'm not going to say anything. And
Sure.
my dad kind of looks over at me and says, "You tell her I'm not," because grandma was a tough bird. And, I just saw the disappointment in grandma's face when I told her I wasn't going back to school. So now here's I tell kids all the time, I had no education, I had no job, and I had large debt. And the worst thing you can ever do, right? Default on a
Right.
college loan. And so
Yes.
I progressed that into riding the garbage truck in my hometown.
Wow.
Now think about this. You're going and picking up garbage on the one-way street, if you will, to school that I walked for 12 plus years. And the school buses are going by me, and I'm riding on the back of a garbage truck. I was a decent student. I was a good athlete. I mean, I was never in trouble. And I'm thinking, man, oh man, this is not much of a life, but I did what I had to do and progressed that into working at a mall that just opened up. A family friend that lived in town opened up a brand new mall. It was a little sports store that sold some stuff. And I worked at a brickyard then for another 2.5 years. And the rule on that was my high school, one of my assistant basketball coaches was one of the foremen there. And one of my friends was the plant superintendent. His dad was the plant superintendent. They said, "We'll let you come out here and work, but if you're here for more than a year, we're firing you because you're not going to do this for a living." And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And, well, that's when my dad got ill. I ended up turning that 1 year into about 2.5 years. And I continued to work at the store. And that's when the life story really changed, Kelly. That's how I got back into school. And this is another lesson I always tell people, that if you just kind of keep your nose clean, stay out of trouble, hang out with the right people, all these different things, good things can happen to you. And I was helping a friend that was running a store. It's he and I. And so if he wasn't there, I was, and vice versa. And at Christmas time, a guy came in to buy shirts for his nephews who were basketball players. This guy was from our area, was an assistant basketball coach at a college that had previously recruited me.
Wow.
So it's Christmas time. This is 91, I think it is. He comes in and sees me and is like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I kind of tell him what's all going on. And he says, "Well, I just got the head coaching job at a high Dominican. I have no players. Are you interested in going back to school?"
Wow.
And so I made my mind up. I was going to, and my dad had passed. And I'm like, "Yep, I got to get back to school." I'd go to the state basketball tournament. I'd borrow my head coach's car, drive to a school I've never even heard of before, Ohio Dominican. It's in Columbus. Go over, visit, sign,
I
go
know
there.
it well. Yeah.
Yeah, go there in the fall. And I always say, if you don't take those opportunities that come about, if you don't take advantage of those, and I was able to get into college. I played a couple years of basketball, got a degree, and as they say now, the rest is history.
It's amazing. That's a powerful story. Man, I just wish your dad could have known that you did it,
Yeah, and I lost my mom in 2018. He died of cancer. My mom had ALS, so it was,
boy.
but it was a real satisfaction. She was one of those that if you asked her, she was going to bring out that photo album and brag about her
Sure.
kid. I always say, "Mom, no one really cares. They're just being nice to you,
Yeah.
But very, very, very proud of the upbringing we had. It was a strong, disciplined home. It was a caring home. I was fortunate to be the youngest of four. My siblings would tell you I'm spoiled, probably, but we have all gotten through it and are better because of it.
Yes. And now you really are an educational leader other educational leaders look up to. And I can only imagine how many times that story has motivated people to make a harder choice, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's I always go back to those roots. I know what it's like to go in a mine. I know what it's like to work double shifts. I mean, I started at this brickyard, Kelly. I mean, I was picking up 2 brick a day, man. I was wore out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In full
Yeah.
brick. And when I'm leaving, I'm picking up 12, 15 brick and putting them wherever you want them. And just the you grow up really fast in that
Yeah.
regard. And I just saw Dave Ramsey just put a little stat out that said you're 97% more successful if you graduate high school, get married, then have family than if you get it out of order.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty neat stat. We've been blessed. I've been an incredibly blessed person to had a lot of people help me along the way.
Sure.
So the family, our community, teachers, community members that helped me at that time that were
Yeah. Well, I'd like you to share with our listeners where you are now and what your position is and
yeah.
how you make a difference. But even within your educational journey, you were, I believe, a middle school teacher and
Mhm.
held some other positions as well.
Yeah.
You were also a coach yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I ended up, it's funny. I first when I got out of school, my first job out of school as an assistant basketball coach at Denison University. And I mean,
Cool.
I graduate and I go there and I'm living in like a faculty housing all by myself. And, they're giving me, and I'm like, I'm coaching guys, I'm like 24 or whatever I am. And these guys are like 22 and
Yeah.
just a neat experience. And amazingly enough, and that's where my daughter now goes to school. I mean,
Oh,
that
wow.
full circle.
That's awesome.
Then I had the opportunity to go back to Ohio Dominican as like if you will, like a graduate assistant because they could then send me and would help me pay for graduate school at Ohio State. And while I coached basketball, and I had all intentions of staying in the college game for as long as I could. And the position came open in my own hometown. And after you don't make any money after a while, it
Yeah,
helps.
it
My
does
dad
help. Yes.
and that's when my dad had passed. My mom is making ends meet, so I'm able to come back home and help her. And I take a teaching job at a middle school, and then I was 3.5 years because I took over for a guy as the head basketball coach at my alma mater, and then ended up going to Riverview Schools, which is in Coshocton County,
Okay.
and taught in the middle schools there for 8 years, and was basketball coach there, and then became a principal at Riverview
Okay.
and a year off between coaching and getting a principal's job, I took my educational leadership and knocked that out. I coached at Muskingum College at that time because one of my best friends,
You've
Gino
been a
Ford,
lot of places. Yeah.
all driving distance. Gino Ford
Yeah.
was head coach there. His dad was a great friend of mine. So I stayed in the game, finished my educational leadership, and a job came open at Riverview Local Schools in the building that I taught in.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, you know what? These are a lot of my good friends. I don't know if being a principal there is really what it wants to be. So I have a great relationship with Kyle Knuckle, who was a longtime superintendent there, is now up in Northwest Ohio, up in the Bowling Green area as their ESC superintendent. And I go and interview at a principal's job at a local school. Because I didn't know, can I do this or not? I
Yeah.
left the interview. I knew the guy that is now their superintendent. I knew he was going to get the job when I left, and he should have. He was a graduate from there, a Hall of Famer from there. I'm like, he would have to really mess this up to not get that job. And,
Yeah.
and but I left with great confidence to go back and call our superintendent and say, you know what? I think if that's still open, I'd like to apply. And in the meantime, the middle school principal, that's the opening, went to the elementary and then called me and says, I'd like to go back to middle school. So I took an elementary principal job. And I'll tell you, I did that for 8 years. And
Covered every age. Yeah.
yes, it was phenomenal, Kelly.
Yeah.
Just the relationships that were built and learning from them. I mean, my most experience was when I was there and my wife's an elementary teacher, but it was the best position for me because I had my own building. I had about 400 students and really, really grew to love leadership at that time.
That's great.
And now, and I projected that into where I'm here at Buckeye Career Center. Believe it or not, it's my 11th year. I was not a CareerTech guy. I knew the superintendent. He was 1 year ahead of me in terms of he took the job. He's been here 12 years. I was familiar with him because we had both coached and familiar with one another. There was a position that was an assistant superintendent and the director of adult education. Well, in his first year came in, the director of adult education retired. And the assistant superintendent left to get a superintendent job at another career center. And so it's like, hey, here's what we're going to do. Are you still interested? We're going to combine those jobs. I'm like, why
You
not?
said for
I
two
know,
checks.
I said, I know neither of you either. Let's go. And
Yeah.
and
Good for
11 years
you.
later, here we are and
That's
loving it,
great.
loving it.
Well, I want to lean into the career tech
Yeah.
and I want to learn about that because I'm going to be forward. It's just an area I don't know. And I want to talk a little bit about career. as I listen to you, you inspire me in so many different ways. I love that you're an encourager. I love the phrase, "That's when I fell in love with leadership." We talk pretty heavily in education about teacher burnout, but we don't talk as much about leadership burnout, which I think is as prevalent as teacher burnout. I think there's a real danger there. I'd like to talk a little bit about that. You have so much to offer. I imagine you hire a lot of people, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
And what ages do you work with of
So
students?
our students are 11th and 12th graders in the high
Okay.
school. And then on
Okay.
the adult side, we'll have anyone from 16 all the way to, I don't know, 85, 90 have, if they
Wow.
want to come in through the
Sure.
doors. Predominantly, juniors and seniors are in our high school. And that combination of that job, Kelly, is really, really neat because I get all angles of it, right?
Yeah.
And then,
That's a little bit like mine. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
we started with 38 students was in that 12 years ago, and now we're tipping the board where we're a little over almost 1,100 now, and projected to be about 1,300 on the high school side.
Wow.
So
You
to
know,
answer the question about hiring people, absolutely, and I can
yeah.
tell you a bit more about that.
I want to talk about that too. So we have a lot in front of us if you have the time.
Oh
So
yeah,
let's I just want to think on this for a second. Like, I've been in public education my entire life. This is my 35th year. I was 26 years in a classroom, 9 years as a director of innovation instruction, all public school. But one thing I've really learned is we need all the other players as well. We need the parochial school. We need the career tech school. There's even times we need the virtual academies
right,
and
right.
stuff for the different for different, clientele that we try to service and help. And at the end of the day, like the tagline of my podcast, to make a difference in the lives of students. That's the end. So Frank, why do we need career tech? What is the goal of career tech and how does it help people?
Well, the first answer I'm going to give, it's in this phrase itself. Everyone needs a career,
Right.
right? So when you talk about career
You've
tech,
had many.
everyone, yeah, everyone needs a career, and so for so often it was looked at as a less than opportunity,
Mhm.
probably
Yeah,
wrongfully
I think
looking
so.
at.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
But that was one of those things. I mean, my parents, like I said, never graduated school, but when it was time to go to school and pick a high school or whatever it may be, you weren't going to go there because that's where those kids went. Now, they had never set foot in here in their entire life, but they
Right.
had listened to the noise. So why we need career tech? Because we all need the infrastructure to do whatever it is that we can. If we want to go to a place, we need roads, career tech. We want to go
Yeah.
to a food service, career tech. We want to go to doctors, healthcare, any career. That's really the career tech side of it. And you're
Yeah.
right, one size does not fit all. Will
Right.
Godera talked about one size fits one. And
Yes. Yeah.
we've done this before. To answer your question in multiple different ways, Kelly, when I was a principal, I went to a staff meeting one time and I was coach. Maybe I ran our guys a little bit and things along that lines. We were in shape.
There you go. I get it.
I take my entire staff. Now, at the elementary level, I had at that time one male teacher and everyone else was females. But I had some real connections because two or three of them were great athletes and were on state
Mhm.
championship basketball teams and things along that lines. So I said, okay, this pre-D, we're going to meet in the gym. And so I put them all on the baseline. So you can imagine there's 20-year-olds, there's 50, 60-year-old teachers. I said, here's what we're going to do. And they knew I might be a little off sometimes.
Yeah.
I said, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to run down and back as hard as you can. That's number one. You're going to run
I'm
down.
nervous. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, you should have seen them. You're going to run down and back as hard as you can. Rule number two is you all have to get here at the same time.
Wow.
And it was like lights started going on. And to answer your question, that's why everybody needs a little something different. That's
Yeah.
why we need everybody. And
Well
that's the
said. I like that,
value.
man. Yeah.
That's the value of career tech. That's the value of the digital academies. Because you're right. That may be what they need. And that is the most important thing. We need every scope of work possible. And career tech is a bridge for many to do that.
Yeah. I like that a lot. Thank you, Frank. And I have great admiration. I've visited and I've spoke at a lot of different career tech schools. There is great teaching going on.
Yeah.
I was a seventh grade English teacher for a long time. Many of my former students went career tech, and I saw a light come on
No
within
question.
them that, you know, that was kind of fading. Reignited purpose,
Mhm.
fulfillment, joy, a lot of those things. They
Well, a
felt
lot
like they were valued.
absolutely. A lot of times they start to think, man, I like, and they come to a career tech center, maybe a program, and they realize, hey, there's 20 other guys or 20 other girls that like what I like.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
And they find their niche. And sometimes, guess what? They find out what they don't want to do as much
yeah.
as what they want to
Sure.
do. And that's okay too.
Sure. So, as a leader and an educator who's seen both sides, what's a myth or a misconception that you could dispel that you think might still be floating around out there about career tech schools that you would like to people to know?
I think when they used to say those kids, here's what I'd say. Our kids, career tech kids, are more mature than what people think. You think about it, at 16 years of age,
Yeah.
17, they're leaving their comfort zone of people they had been there with for, 10, 11 years. And they're going to a place. I mean, we've got some schools, Kelly, their classes size, their graduating classes are 40 to 50 kids. And they're coming to a place where there's 40 to 50 in their lab.
Yeah,
So
right.
I would say probably one of the biggest myths about that is, they're not kids. First of all, they still graduate from their home school, so they're still their kids, right?
Right.
Um,
100%. Yes, sir.
and we are a partner in that.
Yeah,
One of the things, that's where those kids go. I'm telling you, I see maturity because they're making decisions that a lot of kids don't make until they maybe go to college at 2 or 3 years later.
yeah. Right.
That's the one thing that I
Yeah.
probably know more than anything.
Yeah, that's great. I like that a lot. I'm really proud of all kids, but there's something about when a student tells me what they're going to become that just excites me as an educator and a dad and stuff like that. That's
It's so
awesome.
yeah, it's so neat to see. And, one of the things, and we talked about, unfortunately, sometimes we get stuck in our office. We gotta get out and take those victory walks. In the beginning of the year, some people, they're walking around, they got their heads down, they don't wanna make eye contact.
Yes.
Well, now they're here a month or so, they got their uniform, there's a sense of pride, they're walking and
Yeah.
feeling so much better about themselves, they earn a credential, they make new friends because it's maybe the first time they've really fit in into something they love and they're passionate
Sure.
about. You can't put a price tag on that.
Not at all. No, that's wonderful. I'm really proud of you and the work that you do. The state of Ohio, and for good reason I might add, is encouraging public education and maybe more than encouraging, directing public education to be more focused on career pathways. And I'm just wondering, in my job as Director of Innovation and Instruction, this is an area that I've got to learn more about and help our district with it. I've got some ideas, but I want to do more. What advice could you give me for our school system about how maybe we should approach this work and careers and opportunities? Certainly, we already have a great partnership. My
Right.
boss likes to remind me it's like a marriage. So ours is Vanguard.
Yeah,
Um,
sure, sure.
and they do a great job. Shout out to Vanguard. But like, what advice would you give our teachers and our leaders and everybody who's going to be part of this, making these ongoing decisions and how we should maybe be looking at it,
Yeah,
if
and
you
you
don't mind?
yeah, and you started right in the right spot, having that great relationship with your, the partner schools and the career center. Okay, we're all in it together, right? We're all for the betterment. And then there's no question the state has done an incredible job of advocating for career tech, supporting it and funds and different things along that lines. One of the things that we found really, really helpful, and we bring a lot of our students and things to our campus.
Okay.
Some schools, I really like this, have done field trips with their teachers, and
Yes.
they get into our halls and they see our programs, they see their kids or whatever it may be, and they realize, hey, they don't all have horns and they're not all purple people and all those different things.
Yeah.
So one of the things I think is first of all, that connection and learning about it. I think another thing, teachers of the partner traditional school districts, get to some of these career tech conferences where you get behind the scenes. I remember I did that when I was at Rearview and I was going to take his job. I went to the very first conference was Okta. I walked out of there and went to I think it was like an alphabet soup section. Kelly, I left, my head was spinning, had no clue what anyone was talking about. But
it was a start.
it's a start. And now that allows you to dig in. And then connecting with people. I didn't know anything. So my first interview for this job was when programs, courses, so you should just have a program and they're going to go to courses. And my interview was to demonstrate how I would lead a professional development for all of our staff, taking it from a program to courses. So I get on the phone and I call and I ask people, who are the best career tech leaders in Ohio? And I went and visited them.
Yes. I love that.
R&D'd it, right?
Yeah.
My buddy at Tusco Manufacturing, Mike Lauber, calls it R&D, rip off and duplicate.
Oh, they say all great artists do it, right? Why not education as well?
So, I mean, if you can schedule a PD day where you visit the Career Center with your staff.
We do that.
Yeah.
I know for sure we do it at the high school. I think, I might be wrong, I think we might have done one of our first ones as a middle school, which I thought was, and we actually have some CT, well, we're required this July to offer CTE courses, and proud of Port Clinton Middle School. We've had CTE courses for quite a few years now. And,
well,
and
it's interesting. And there's the going back to it. So I spoke at the Ohio ACT conference here not too long ago, and there were some legislators there, and there were ACT leaders. There were some business leaders. So I said, do me a favor. If you took home ec, if you took shop when you were in school or something like that, kind of stand up, raise your hand or whatever it may be, because the Columbus Dispatch had just released an article about Career Tech being the cool kids club. I don't know if you'd happen to see that or not, but it's a great.
I haven't, but I think they're onto something, because I think it's starting to be that way, and your numbers are showing it.
Yeah. So we were talking about, and I said, well, raise your hand, stand up if you've ever been home ec, if you took some computer, if you took shop.
Yeah.
Like I took shop in junior high and high school, and the bunch of them raised your hand. I said, welcome to Career Tech, the cool kids club. But so many of them would sit there and not think they were Career Tech students.
Yeah.
You probably took something. I took home ec. I mean,
sure,
all those things. But
as an English teacher, I found a lot of my best work is when kids were making things with what we were learning. Yeah. And I think Career Tech's got that going on. And also kind of leaning into like listening to the kid. Like you talk to us. How do you guys like do an intake? Like, let's say I was a student, I came into your school and I had no idea. Do they have to know before they go? Do you help them as part of that discovery? You kind of mentioned earlier that they, sometimes they change their mind.
Yeah. Well, what we try to do is really establish drips, if you will. So we hired a couple years ago, probably about half a dozen now, a career connector. And that career connector will be out in middle schools. That career connector will be out in elementaries. And we'll take our students to do hands-on things with all of our partner schools.
Awesome.
We do an 8th grade visit day. So before the 8th grade visit day, we're going to go to each of those middle schools, and we're going to educate them on all the pathways. And then we're going to allow them to pick 5 that they're going to go through.
Okay.
So that's another touch. So we're touching them in the elementary primarily. We want to hit them in 6th grade. We run a career connection camp with our teachers that are for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. We run a manufacturing campus for 7th and 8th graders. We bring 8th graders here. Now, what we've done different in that case is we keep all of our students here as well and bring in community people to talk about, here are the careers available. It's not just, hey, come to Buckeye. It's here's what you can do in all these different ways. So then we come back and then we do our sophomore visits. Okay. And now sophomore visits,
lots of touches.
They lots of touches, and there's drips and things along that lines. And then, we do an application. This was the first year we kind of did a kind of a deadline acceptance. I can't remember what we called it now, but hey, first in, first, and we do that all the time. We have no prerequisites. I know some career centers say, hey, you only got 5 kids from your school can come to welding program. Hey, you only have to, we have no prerequisites. It's literally timestamp, first come, first serve from our 11 partner school districts.
That's great.
And then what we've done is, instead of telling kids no, Contractually, if they're 31 or more, they get a classroom reduction aid in their lab. If they're 35 or more, we hire a second teacher.
Okay.
So instead of telling kids no, and they do change their mind, we allow them to come. We'll hire additional teachers. So we'll have 2 lab teachers, but they'll be in there at the same time. Maybe one's taking a group over here, one's taking a group over there, bookwork wise. And that's a little different structure than probably a lot of career centers do. A lot of them are, 25 is what we'll take. We've just decided we don't want to limit any kid's opportunity.
I like that. I like that a lot. We talk a lot about creating hope and opportunities for kids. You mentioned speaking at conferences, and
Yeah.
you encouraged people to attend a career tech conference. Frank, it just so happens, as I was leaving work today, I received an email invitation to an upcoming conference at BGSU Firelands.
Yeah.
And I saw the keynote speaker was Frank Polen, you.
Goodness.
And so, yeah, so I signed up. I'm pretty sure, I think it's May 26th. So I think I'll see you there.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, you know what? I came about because I had presented down at the Octa conference, and someone then reached out and said, hey, someone from our area was there, really liked what you had to say. And because I think I always talk about relationships determine results, connections build our future.
Yes.
And just how can we connect with people, businesses, because
Yes.
that leads to opportunity.
It sure does. We must have just missed each other at Octa. I think we were both speaking there. That
Could have been. Yeah.
yeah.
Crazy.
Well, that's great. You talked about, I love this. I don't think we could ever get away with this, but if your course builds up, you'll hire another teacher.
Yeah.
Frank, like, what's a non-negotiable for you or a look for when hiring? What's something that really stands out to you and you would be like, lean into that?
Now we're in the midst of interviewing right now.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you one of the first thing is, do you have some passion? Do you have energy? Are you going to
Yes.
be a person that's going to be able to lift up others? That's first and foremost to me, beyond obviously integrities and all those different things. But I want someone that's going to have that spark and desire and a passion to, many of our cases, we're getting people directly from the workforce, right?
Right.
So these people, they're going to have to go and they're going to have to get a career tech license. They're going to have to go to school, and maybe they've never have in many cases.
Right.
And so you're going to find out pretty quick, but you can't, that passion, that energy is the most important thing that we can see. And you better deliver it from day one.
I love that. The first chapter of my book is all about attitude. And
Absolutely.
I have changed over the years. I used to say, I love the word passion. I love that you shared that. I like the word eagerness. There is a huge difference between willingness and eagerness. A lot of people are willing. We hired a young man to be an art teacher at a middle school, and I have to be careful what I say because he is so eager. I'll just be brainstorming, and then the next day he's doing it. I'm like, slow down. But I love that eagerness. So that's great. Well, maybe I helped out a couple of your candidates by asking that question there.
Yeah. And another one, hey, throw wantingness into that, wantingness.
Yes. So much. Yeah. Very good. Well, good luck on your interviews.
Thanks. Yeah.
Now, Frank, leadership wise, and this is a big reason I wanted to have you on the podcast, and thanks for helping me with the career stuff. I might be reaching out and calling and asking you for questions because we got to get this right. We got to get and it's just so cool. Like all the jobs that you have, you're a chameleon. You learn and figure it out, don't you? You
just get into the weeds and go. I mean, hey, that garbage route and that brickyard, just roll up the sleeves and let's get to work, because that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
And about the time, Kelly, you know this, about the time you think you've got it figured out, boom, change comes.
Absolutely.
And that's okay. It's fun. That's what
there's no scarier words to hear though from somebody is when they say they got it all figured out. You're like, oh, buddy, buckle up.
Yeah.
You and I both look at leadership, talk about leadership, try to grow other leaders, and we also try to grow ourselves as leaders. I'm curious who some of your influences might be, and what are some leadership lessons that you've taken upon yourself that you could pass along on this podcast to help people like me who still want to learn and get better and things?
Yeah. And really my leadership drive, it started in college. That's probably the first time I read a book. My basketball coach required us to read books.
You can't say that on the air, Frank. You can't say that.
From start to finish. It was Og Mandino, The Return of the Rag Picker,
Oh,
and
wow.
I just became enamored with that ability. And I'd always coached, so I'd always looked up to coaches and certain ones and how they carried themselves and the lessons behind them. But I really became a thirst for leadership after one, the coach Ed DeGenova was his name, started having us read books. But then my other side of it was Kyle Knuckle, as the superintendent of Riverview Schools, really allowed us to and put us in positions where we had to lead.
That
And
is
from
so
there,
important.
yeah, and you know what? You're going to fail, right? And it's
Right.
okay. I can remember even as a coach and getting called in, and well, how'd that go for you? And what would have
Mhm.
happened if you? Yeah, you're right. You learn from that. The world has become. I'm not a social media guy per se. I like Twitter, which I know it's called X now, and I
Yeah.
LinkedIn, because that has allowed us to connect with people like yourself, Joe Sanfilippo, Jimmy Casas, you name them. People, why should I be talking to a guy from California and building a relationship, right?
Yes.
But we're allowed to through this mechanism of social media and connection that
I
you
would
can get.
never have met you, Frank, if it weren't for LinkedIn.
Yeah,
And
exactly,
and
exactly.
I'll embarrass you. You're one of my favorite people on LinkedIn.
I
I love all
appreciate
you
that. I mean,
share.
people are like, "Do you ever sleep?" And I usually don't, and it's okay. I mean, I always say, you gotta stay active to be attractive. Stay in bed, be dead. You know what I mean? You gotta get moving a little bit.
I'm using all these. Yeah.
But, you know, I learned things such as early on is on time and on time is late.
Mhm.
There's no reason, and, I was gonna be the first to the gym. I was gonna get the lights on ball. That was just gonna happen. I'm
Mhm.
here at Buckeye. We have a principal. We have 3 assistant principals, obviously superintendent. We have a lot of other people. Well, we had pancake day the other day, and I came in and turned the lights on. Just I'm gonna take responsibility. I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned from others, and, I'm really trying through passion and purpose and pursuit and performance to try to instill it into others. My kids always say, "Dad, not everything's gotta be a life lesson." Well, I think it does.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
They call it fireplace talks. That's what they
Yeah,
call it.
yeah. So, I mean, I really do enjoy that, and I enjoy now catching glimpses, whether it be on LinkedIn, your videos, your previous guests,
Aw, thanks.
phenomenal listens, phenomenal listens. I was able to connect with Joe multiple times and been on his podcast and had some dinners with him and read all his books, and you just feel like you get to know people through
Yeah.
those stories. And educators, man, we got that get to profession. Ernie Johnson, I don't know if you ever saw that video when he addressed the Alabama football team. You've got to check that out on YouTube. Ernie
I
Johnson
have
did
not seen that.
the TNT host that was always on there with Barkley and everything. Well, he
Okay.
had a son that had some disabilities and then passed away not too long ago. But he talked about, get to versus got to.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, educators, we have a get to. We get to do this. And
Yeah.
every get to job has got to things, but we get to. I mean,
Yes.
that's so valuable. But I mean, a lot of different educational leaders. I was a fan of military history. I
Mhm.
went to the George Patton Museum like a summer ago
Oh,
just to
wow.
get that, and Abraham Lincoln, I've read all those different things. I love leadership,
Yeah.
um, and try to glean one little thing from each and everybody you
Yeah.
come in contact with.
Yeah, it certainly is, limitless. I mean,
Oh,
leadership is living. You're constantly evolving or you're falling behind, and so much of it is about building connection, and, I'm blessed because I get to pick the brains once a week of I believe to be some of the smartest leaders out there. I touched on earlier, we talk a lot about teacher burnout, but there is also leadership burnout.
yeah,
And I know I've got some people close to me that it's a tough part of the school year. And I'm just wondering, like,
right.
here you are. I mean, I feel bad. It's late.
Good. Yeah. Well, spring break.
You're giving up your time to help us level up. And I think that's a lot of it. they're givers. They want to be visible. They're doing all these things. Do you have any advice to help people kind of guide them from like being careful? Because I know you're a great dad. Your wife's not here, but I'm sure she'd say you're a good husband and everything.
You can
Your
repeat
dad's
that
looking
to me,
down.
Kelly.
Your
You
dad's
can
looking
repeat
down,
that.
smiling from ear to ear right now. So he's so dang proud of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
What advice would you give somebody who's like, this is heavy, man. I just don't know. I don't know if I can do it.
Well, step back, reflect, take that, take time to think, I always say, and remove yourself from the fire. And you realize just the right time, how much of a difference you're making in someone else's life.
Yeah.
It only takes one, right? And
Yeah.
it spins that. And you're right. These can be the dog days, right? You're getting into the spring. It's buckle up, hold on, right? You're getting the prom season for us, just different things like that.
Right.
And everyone's getting kind of full, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's getting a little
Yeah.
full. And that's why spring breaks are still kind of valuably important, just not only for students, but for the staff. But I mean, just to always remember why you got into it in the first place, because you were a servant, because you led with a servant heart.
Right.
And always go back to knowing if you make a difference, that starfish effect, right? If you make a difference in one person,
Yeah.
there are days, man. The worst thing I can do, come in here and my little red lights blinking on the phone, right? Especially as a principal, because you
Yeah.
knew that you left, it wasn't blinking, and nothing after 5 o'clock is usually good, right?
Yeah.
It's blinking there when you come in the morning. It was a
Principals
bus.
don't get a lot of good blinks anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bus issue or whatever it may be. But just take yourself a victory walk. Take that moments of joy to go see somebody doing catch somebody doing something really good.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to have fun, man. You can have fun and learn at the same time, and know that you're not going through it alone. And it's okay.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things is when people will come in here, principals, and they just need to sit down and maybe just need to vent,
Yeah.
just a different, just to get something off their chest, whatever it may be. And listen, my wife's fourth grade reading language arts teacher. So you know what time it is right now. It's gung ho to get that test ready.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, she does a phenomenal job,
That's great.
but the stress level, I see it out of her, and I try to, encourage her, and they're going to be fine. They always do, but
Yeah.
sometimes we're our own worst enemies in that, Kelly.
Sure.
And I think if you surround yourself with as many people, take those victory walks, step aside. Hey, let me take you down to the mine, and you know what? You'll realize it ain't so bad.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. You have a good perspective on. You have a few places you could take me. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's great that students and colleagues hear those heavier moments and stuff. And we need to be reminded of those stories. Yeah.
And this is why it's so important, Kelly, to have people like you do these things. Allow for me to come in, because you are that to me.
Yeah.
I see so many of the good things that you say and do in your recordings, and
I try. You're too kind.
you're doing a great job with it. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the other night, your Van Wert superintendent, I
Oh,
mean,
Mark Bagley. Wasn't he a gem?
oh, man. I mean, and I'm fortunate. I work for Mr. Bob Alsep, and we've chewed a lot of the same turf, and he allows me to lead and kind of be in my own little way.
Yeah.
Our leadership styles, they're somewhat similar, but they're quite a bit different in that regard as well. And that's the other thing, man. You got to lead in your own skin. You can't be somebody else.
Yeah.
And probably early on as a coach, I tried to be people I wasn't. I was trying to maybe live up to some expectations of what I thought it should be like based on maybe how I was coached or previous coaches. I realized, you know what? That's probably not me. I'm more,
Yeah.
I want to build relationships with people. I want to build a courage, and I think that's the way I can lead.
Yeah. Well, I have taken up a lot of your time, and I'm so lucky for that. I want to give you an opportunity, Frank, and what you just said, like one of the things, like I run across a lot of people on social media and stuff, doesn't mean I stick with them. And one of the things that really came across from you to me was you're genuine, you're authentic, and your encouragement. I'm just like, wow, like I can't wait. I see a post, so it's kind of fun. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of your work. I want to give you a chance, and then I'm going to end with some kind of just shorter questions. But a message, maybe there's something we didn't hit tonight that you wanted to share with people or something you'd like people to know. I just want to give you that opportunity, that voice, and I thank you for being on the show.
I'd say a couple things. We always got to keep in mind, education is not a race. Okay. There's all different pathways to get to where you want to go, how you get there, or whatever it may be. Along that way, there's a lot of on ramps and off ramps, and we got to meet people where they are and improve them so that they can be a productive member of society.
Sure.
Sometimes we get a little caught up in only the elite. Listen, if there wasn't kids that got in trouble, if there wasn't kids for people like me, I'm that bottom half of the class that made the top half possible, Kelly. You know what I'm saying? But
Yes.
if every kid was easy and every kid came and there was never an issue, what would they
Yeah.
need us for?
Yeah. I love to remind teachers and leaders, if you can reach the tough kid,
Oh yeah,
you're great. That's greatness when you can reach
that's
the
who really
tough one.
needs it, right? That's who
Yeah.
really needs it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
not that the other ones you want to have an impact on them, but they're the easy ones to like,
Yeah.
and they're the easy ones to help. And
Sure.
but let's help all. And I
Yeah.
think, just understanding that not everybody had the same path. Not everyone was born with the same God-given talent. Not everyone was born with the same, I don't want to say rights, but if you're born in a double parent home, a 2-parent home, maybe they both work and all these different things, you've got a little bit of a competitive advantage, as Mark Turner likes
Sure.
to call it. I mean,
Yeah.
so how can we make sure other people aren't slighted, that we can also give them that edge? And I think by investing in them with your time, your talent, your treasures is the best way to do it.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. I just kind of want to end with some fun questions
Yeah.
things I can put to use. I always open with this one. You may have already hit it, but I love books, and I'm not a fast reader,
Yeah.
and I got more books in my house right now than I do life left in me, but that's okay. All right. What do you have a book that you consider most influential or just kind of really resonated with you that you could recommend to our listeners?
Yeah. We've talked about Joe's books a couple times. I've heard other people. I'm going to throw right now. I'm enamored, and I can't. I reference it nonstop. Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Gordera.
Wow. Hold
Unbelievable.
that book up again one more
Yep.
time.
Yep. Unreasonable Hospitality.
Okay.
I'm telling you, Kelly, just check a couple things on YouTube. And it's just, when you hear the title Unreasonable Hospitality, you sit there and think, well, basically it's going above and beyond what you
Yeah.
think would be expected. And it's
Yeah.
so many great little stories and how that came about. And I listened, honest goodness, I listened about 4 different things a night. I'll put the headphones on or whatever it may be. Many of your podcast guests are on there. That's part of my listen.
Thank you.
I will listen to him talk, and his stories are just unbelievable.
That's great.
I don't want to ruin it for you, but just
No, I'm going to check it out.
check one on YouTube and you'll be like, I get it now.
Okay. I will. Frank, what is a tradition at your school or any of your schools and or a practice that you employ as a leader each week that is awesome?
Well, that's a good one. That's a real good question.
All my daughters go to Miami of Ohio, and
There, yeah.
it's kind of cool. Like, they actually give you a little book of all the Miami traditions. It's like,
Yeah. Oh,
it's
yeah.
like
Don't
this
step on
big.
that turtle or whatever it may be.
And
Or
yeah,
something.
and I flipped through. I was like, every school should have this. Mark Bagley shared one at graduation. They all turned to the wall. I was
Yeah.
just curious, or maybe it's a practice that you put into your week to find joy, purpose, or whatever.
One of the things I personally like to do is I like to write 3 to 5 notes and put them in either the teacher's mailbox or have my secretary kind of deliver them so that they're there.
Yeah, nice.
And make it personalized.
Yeah.
That's one thing. If something I saw them that they didn't even know I noticed
Yeah.
them doing it, and I'll be able to drop a little note to them.
Nice.
And that's one thing. I think, one of the things, I guess, boy, we wear a lot of blue and green here. You know what I mean? That's the
I
public.
noticed that. Yeah.
That's probably one of the biggest things is that it's amazing. Like our marketing team, they will wear matching outfits on these big days, and they're blue and green.
Yeah, and that's not camo green right there.
Yeah, no,
I'd spot you out in the forest. Yeah,
yeah. And one of the things that we've really we try to end every post with hashtag Buckeye Proud.
like that. Yeah, those things matter. Those things really matter. Good.
And we've moved to, boy, I tell you, two big events that we do that have become staples here. So I don't know about you, but most high school parent teacher conferences, how's the attendance?
Yeah, not
Exactly.
great. Yeah.
So about half a dozen years ago, we're like, we don't have parent teacher conferences, but we have an opportunity, and we do a pancakes with parents.
I like it. Who doesn't
And
like pancakes?
amen to that. And these parents come in, they have pancakes. So I'm over here about 5:15, start cooking pancakes, and we start serving by about 7:30, 7:45. By 9 o'clock, we're back to normal. We'll run 800 parents through with their kid. They get to go to the lab, see it, and then we're back to normal. That's become a big tradition for us, is that because a lot of bragging rights. I mean, we got our own aprons, right? For the Buckeye Proud and the pancakes.
Yeah.
Some big bragging rights on what line you want to go to. You want to go to my line? You want to go to the superintendent's line?
Sure. Yeah, right. It's personal. It's personal. Very good.
That's become a great one. Our marketing students, we set up places. We take a picture with every kid, with their parents and family that come, and we put it on social media. Like I say, by a little after 9, our building's empty. That's one big one that has become a great tradition. The other one is our cross country run, elementary through 6th grade. We're talking preschoolers out here running. Our kids build the course. Our exercise science kids stretch them out. Our cosmetologists do their hair. Our natural resource serve them watermelon.
That's cool.
So those two events, and you think about that, Kelly, in days of school, we only serve juniors and seniors. We got preschool and kindergartners and first graders here running. Well, they don't drive. So all of a sudden, parents, that's
cool.
2 sets of grandparents coming and seeing. And we always say, if you haven't seen Buckeye lately, then you haven't seen Buckeye. So we open up our building. Those would be a couple things, I guess, in terms of traditions. We're in our 50th year here coming up.
Wow.
We'll have a big celebration. Those are the two really fun, big events that I say are become our traditions.
That's awesome. And my last one, I love to ask people what's next. Are there any big projects, personal or professionally, that you're aiming towards and working towards?
Yeah, well, we're in the process here. We just finished this past year. We're in our first year of our medical facility here that we opened up, and we went to it was, there again, legislators really supported, and it's really helping our kids. So we're going to actually hire another teacher there, because we now went to a lab that has 3 classrooms, extended learning, 3 labs from a place that had 1 sink. And we were doing medical.
Wow.
So our big next thing is, I'm a big driver of our really a big manufacturing area here. And so we've generated, us and Kent State University that we share a university drive with. We formed an industry sector partnership. We've generated a little over $4 million in grant for equipment only.
Wow.
So we need a place to put all this. That's our next big project, our advanced manufacturing center.
It's a good problem.
Personally, I want to continue to do this stuff, and I'm going to keep working. There's no question about it. I got a junior in high school, Kelly. You know what I mean? I got a daughter. I got a daughter at Denison University.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to finishing my career as a superintendent. And
Awesome.
If it can be here, I'd love for that to be the case. If
That's
not,
great.
we'll have to do something else. I just, every step, though, I get a little saddened because it takes you away from the student, which was the reason we got in it.
Yeah.
And but you got to go out and create those. And that's why I go and speak to junior high kids. And that's why I go to do our elementary camps, to have that connection. But we're excited. It's exciting times, not just for Ohio Career Tech, but just Ohio in general. I mean, we really are the heartbeat of it all. I love that.
We got some good things going on. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Hey, Frank, man, it is an absolute honor and privilege to interview tonight. I have taken you away from your family and your work. I'm glad you're on vacation. Thank you so much for taking time to be on the Wired Educator podcast. I learned a ton, and everything that Frank and I talked about is going to be in the show notes. And really, truly, check out the show notes. Reach out to Frank. He's authentic and genuine. He'll answer any question you have, and I hope our paths cross many times, Frank. They are on May 26th for sure.
I'm looking forward to it, Kelly. You'll hear a lot of great things. I hope that you can take something away from there.
Yeah. Frank, thank you so much for tonight, and you're the best. I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Easter to you.
Happy Easter to you. Thanks for listening to the Wired Educator Podcast, my interview with Frank Polen. Some of my takeaways from our conversation really center around that true servant leadership heart, the importance of pushing through the technical and personal challenges and realizing that every student needs a path that works for them, which is exactly why CareerTech is so vital. Be sure to check out the show notes and links to Frank's work and resources mentioned in today's episode, and a link to Jimmy Casas and Jessica Cabeen's book, The Drip Effect, and my contact information if you're looking for an opening day speaker. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy week to listen to the show, level up, and make a difference in the lives of others. Keep being awesome and have a great week and have a great summer. Leadership matters. Let's give the world something worth following.
Thanks for listening to the Wired Educator Podcast at www.wirededucator.com.